I want a good boys, me and Chris on the internet one day. Chris said to Neil, let's make a podcast, boy. Come on now, what do you think? Well, what will this podcast be about? Said Neil with a tear in his eye. Without stories that people tell each other from Louisiana Pie to the city of Mumbai. Oh, you mean urban legends. And the podcast was Urban Legends with Neil and Chris. You take it.
Hello there. Welcome to Urban Legends, the hit number one podcast for all your urban legend needs. And this is our 1 year anniversary special. I am a podcaster with 1 year's experience, but with no discernible improvements, Chris Flynn. And with me, as always, is podcaster with 1 year's experience and some improvements. It's Mr.
Neil Herbert. I mean, that's largely because I came from a much lower bar to start off with, Chris.
Oh, sorry, we're getting a round of applause there, Neil.
Oh, there you go. We've got a soundboard, have we?
Probably should have told you beforehand that for this one and only anniversary special, I may have built myself a soundboard this morning. So
we'll see how this works out. Are you playing those sounds directly into your microphone?
No, I'm playing them off my phone down here, next to the microphone.
Into the microphone, yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be good, isn't it, Neil?
I mean, it's going to be something. we'll figure it out when I listen back.
Neil,
you got any Mr. T noises on there?
No, I haven't. No, I used to have Mr. T.
Failed at the first hurdle. You did, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's.
What were his phrases? I never.
Yeah.
not likely, Charlie.
What's it, Simon?
Snickers advert. Don't mind if I do.
Yeah. I don't like trains.
Both big fans of Mr. T.
So, Neil, would you like to tell me, because as I discussed earlier, or stated, it wasn't really a discussion, I've shown no improvement at all as a podcaster in 1 year of doing it, whereas you've shown some real gains, Guy.
Yeah.
So would you be able to kind of give me some advice, maybe?
Give you some lessons, some mentoring.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. I mean,
sure the audience would like it if I improved.
Yeah.
At the staggering rate that you are.
Well, you know, if you sounded like you were even vaguely interested, that would be a good start.
I am interested. I'm all ears.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Take me at my word, not on my face.
You're yawning quite openly.
I've got a resting bored face, all right? Resting disinterested face.
That's putting me off. No, yeah. So, well, I don't think I'm really one to be talking through the mic thing. I mean, I have made some improvements, but whether I've actually surpassed you, I think is, you know, the audience will have to decide. I'm not sure.
I in no way suggested you surpassed me. I just said that you've improved, and I haven't.
You just got to. I mean, I think when it comes to, I don't think, you know, I think your vocal delivery is something I've got to catch up to. But you know, in terms of gains, you know, I mean, I've 2 points I'd make here. You know, like it's a bit like, well, I learned really from the British Olympic team.
Okay.
So you've heard the theory of marginal gains?
Yes.
Yeah. So you know, making all of those small improvements. Okay, you've got to want it, Chris.
Oh, okay. So that's where I'm falling down.
And if all else fails, just get a dodgy doctor to deliver you some secret parcels through the mail.
Right.
That enhance your performance. I mean, definitely more about the marginal gains and wanting it, but you know.
I mean, the nice thing about being a podcaster in the UK rather than say the States is that the podcasting infrastructure is very much the Wild West over here. You know, I mean, we're not doing this for the overlords at iHeartRadio. I mean, we wouldn't be able to because we didn't used to write for Cracked, but
yeah,
like everyone on iHeartRadio. But we don't have that here, do we? We don't have podcast networks particularly. It's just go do what you want.
You do, but they're just not as big, I don't think. There are some kind of things I've heard. Well, there's one I quite like. There's a podcast. There's I think the guy's name is John Ray. No, the BBC, but there's one called, I think it's called Big Owl or something like that. They do a few different ones. So
BBC aren't returning my calls, by the way. I've been trying to get them on the old Urban Legends gravy train, but they're not interested.
No, they've been filtering your calls for years, ever since you kept writing in with those sitcom ideas.
Well, there were some of them were quite good.
You know, they were problematic even back then, and they've not aged well.
One was set on a prison train. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Had a lot of this kind of stuff, and that kind of humour. That was good.
You wanted to do a remake of Prisoner Cell Block H, didn't you? The female prison story from Australia, but relocated to.
Yeah, well, I ended up selling that idea to a certain concern in the Valley in California. Worked out to be quite a nice franchise.
I mean, they didn't really play it for laughs in the original Australian version, did they?
I didn't play it for laughs either. I just played it for nudity. But it's what the people wanted. So, Neil, I would like to, because it's our 1 year anniversary special, I'd like to go through and thank our top 10 countries that listen to us.
Ooh.
So I'm just going to go through
Got the stats from Acast here, Chris.
Got the stats on my phone.
Nice.
Yeah. So in joint 10th place, it's Spain and Sweden.
Ooh.
It's nice of them, isn't it? In 9th, it's the Philippines.
Yes.
Fire and Ice, yeah, that's what they call it. The Spain and Sweden connection. In 8th, it's Italy. It's nice, isn't it? They've got on board recently.
Lovely country, I like it.
Very lovely country. In 7th, a slightly disappointing 7th, it's Canada. What are they playing at?
Should be higher up.
Should be higher up.
A lot of people in Canada
who speak English.
We've got the same Queen, Canadians. Come on. What's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Come on,
Can't
guys.
do it for us in the year of Our Lady's 70th year existing.
The fact, if you can't listen to your cousins across the Atlantics under the same royal family, you can't listen to our podcasts on the year of the Platinum Jubilee, then
we want to look into that, don't we?
We're going to kick you out of the Commonwealth.
We want to look into getting that by royal appointment. We want to get one of those, don't we?
Charles is pretty mad. He might do it.
Yeah, he'd probably be up for listening about some nonsense about urban myths.
What one was I on? 7th. I can't remember. Then it's Germany. Thanks very much, Germany. It's interesting.
Nice one. I won't hold all those football results against you.
Then Russia. Notice that Russia in there and not Ukraine. I know who I'm supporting. Then
controversial stance as ever.
Then it's India, which is cool. We've done a couple of legends from India. Mm-hmm. Then it's in 3rd place, Australia, with the same. Well, I mean, Russia, India, and Australia all have the same amount of points, but I think they're doing it alphabetically. So, and then
robust analysis. This.
Well, it's difficult. Then, so the top 2 is our cousins across the pond, United States, and then number 1 is the UK.
No surprises there. I don't think that's that top 2.
No, not at all. But America very much on the rise, listenership-wise. I think they're going to overtake the UK fairly soon. Just saying. So that's interesting, isn't it, Neil?
That is interesting.
Would you like to say thank you to all the countries?
To all of do you know what? I'd like to say thank you to anyone who's listening, wherever you are in the world.
Oh, God, you're such a milquetoast.
Yeah, I am. It's kind of like, between patronising and just kind of like really mealy-mouthed. Oh, I don't know. I get whenever I see another section on the map go up, I think that's great, because as I've put it to friends in the pub, somebody in the Philippines has been able to seriously think about what an idiot I am, and I think that's a life goal achieved.
and withdraw their visa requests to work in the NHS.
Fucking hell, this guy's clueless.
And I'll just
the magic of the internet.
Quick run through to some other countries where we've had a few listens. So, Brazil, Ireland, Malaysia, Netherlands, Finland, Israel, Mexico, Nepal, New Zealand, Peru, Portugal, Switzerland, and Togo. So we have now invaded the minds and ears of every...
Yeah, being based in the UK, let's not use that terminology, Chris.
We have
branch of apology and reconciliation.
Colonised the airwaves of every continent on Earth apart from Antarctica, but I don't really count that. Do you?
I'll never be happy until Antarctica falls under our jackboot. I'll say as well, possibly swung completely in the other direction there. I'll say as well, Cayman Islands.
Well, water's going to be the new oil in the next century.
Exactly. Get in there.
Exactly.
While the world's burning as well, it's going to be a tasty 21 out in Antarctica. So while everyone else is
nice, isn't it?
boiling up in the desert, we'll be like, oh, it's all right. This. All the sea banks are out there as well, so we can get free food.
I think we should get down to Antarctica and open some English-style Costa del Sol
get a fish and chip shop on there, yeah.
Yeah, a Del Boys bar, something like that. Roast dinners. Roast dinner, warm pint, and only fools and horses. Beautiful. That's a holiday.
And also, like curry and kebab shops because you want some decent food occasionally.
Yeah. Did you know that the first...
I like roast dinner, actually.
Yeah, roast dinners are nice. They were serving curries in the UK about 50 years before American independence. We've been eating curries here for a long time.
Yeah.
Right, they used to serve them in the coffee houses because we didn't have restaurants back then. But yeah, you used to be able to get a nice bit of curry in like 1710. So yeah, we've been enjoying.
Yeah, it was a bit later, but I remember Thackeray writing about it in kind of like that was sort of set during the Napoleonic Wars, but that was kind of like sort of 1813, something like that. That was set, and it was kind of a main character there. It was kind of, but yeah, it's.
So, do we consider curry to be part of our national cuisine now? I mean, I would say so. If it's older than we've been eating them longer than America's existed. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's a bit of a
because people always have a go at Americans. Weirdly, I mean, it's a podcast. They have a go at English food, right? And I'm like, sorry, but you're American. Like, do we not eat enough spray cheese for you? Like, you talk about glass houses. Do you know what I mean?
I think, in fairness, so
we eat tacos. That's Mexican. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, no, absolutely. So, I think it's a similar situation, isn't it? Because
I'm going to draw a line under the food talk now because there's only so much editing we can do. So, Neil, for this anniversary special, and after the quite miserable subject of last week's episode, Cropsy. That's the last time you'll hear that now.
Thank you. I was listening back to that just to check there wasn't anything that was kind of like too
and you really enjoyed me saying
and just that was fucking Chinese water torture. It was bad enough and I had to listen to it.
Well, anyway. I've suggested that you never listen back to anything we do. So this episode we are going to look at a very famous, quite hilarious one, and that is the Nightcrawlers of, what's it called, Fresno.
This is the production values, the execution. Your mic is cutting out because you're trying to do a phone into it at the same time as speaking. That you go, oh my God, this is a year on and we've learnt nouts.
Did it cut out?
Yeah, we've gotten worse in a year, Chris.
Was my mic cutting out?
Not cutting out, no. It was kind of... when you listen back to it, you'll see what I mean, but...
I'll do that bit again. I'll turn it down a bit. That goes on for ages. All right. And talking over me.
Fuck off like you've got any fucking ammunition to talking.
Today we're looking at the Fresno Nightcrawler, which is I'm just going to stop this with a whip, which is a hilarious possible alien or ghost sightings which have been caught on CCTV around the Fresno, California area. And basically, you can look it up. There's quite a lot of videos about it. And basically, it looks like, I don't know, some haunted trousers, would you say?
Yeah.
Wandering around.
Do you remember Treebor Mintz back in the 90s, Chris?
Oh, Mr. Soft.
Mr. Soft. He had this very eerie way of walking.
Yeah. Kind of bouncy.
Yeah. I imagine, and I was probably a bit too young at the time, but I imagine people who were, smoking a bit of the Mahjong, we'll probably have
the Chinese tile game.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I imagine, Stoner's probably found it great fun, a bit like Teletubbies and stuff. It's weird. And he had this kind of like almost laid back, it was almost like leaning back way of walking. Yeah. I don't know what the point of the advert was, really, I can't remember, but he was
soft, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was made of soft.
Treeball mints, though, they're kind of crunchy on the outside, but sort of soft in the middle.
Yeah,
that's Treeball mints, Chris. I haven't had a packet in years.
Well,
anyway.
Have you looked for them?
No,
Do you often buy mints?
No. I've just remembered they exist, and now I'm just wondering why I haven't had some for a while. So
I mean, this sounds more like an internal question, really. Yeah. I can't. I'm afraid I can't answer that for you now.
Well, it's an urban myth of its own. What happened in Neil's life?
You used to have fresh bread.
Yeah. Now it's rancid like a cat. There's vultures constantly circling my residence, wondering what's going on. So it just reminds me a bit of, it's that kind of like, there's something eerie about the way that they move.
Yes.
It's like, somebody's, like slouching backwards and rolling their feet.
Yeah, there's not like, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of weight to them. They're kind of almost moonwalking to an extent.
It's a bit of an uncanny valley situation that you'd think it'd be,
thinking about it. I mean, like they look like maybe like bell bottoms or flares. I mean, could it be the two dead Bee Gees haunting Fresno? Could it be?
It's entirely possible.
That's good.
I think to test that theory out, you'd have to play some like very high pitched. I don't know. It wouldn't be funk music, would it? Be disco? Yeah, disco, wouldn't it? Yeah, some very high pitched sort of disco, and then see if they start dancing or something.
Well, that's a field trip for us. We'll go around Fresno with one of those
playing Bee Gees songs and see if we can track some Nightcrawlers.
Have a spooky disco.
End up getting arrested for setting up an illegal rave with a load of aliens.
Yeah, well, they're not caught up in our law.
It'd be like an update of Footloose.
the Fresno sheriff once befriended an alien that died in a car crash after going.
It's a reference I use a lot for a movie I've never seen, Chris, but I must watch it one of these days.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, probably not. Well, I quite like Kevin Bacon and whoever the other fella's name is, John Lithgow. So
yeah, I mean, I like Harry and the Hendersons, I suppose.
He's one of those actors. They kind of like whatever he's in. He normally gives a watchable film.
Bird Rock from the Sun, I think, was funny, or it was funny to me when it came out, and I was like 13. I thought it was.
Revisit. It was. Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm going to read a little article from Paranorms, which is PARANORMS.com. And it's by Adrian Gonzalez. And it was written in August of the 21st year of the 20th century.
Go on, you Aid.
So, Fresno, California. It's the last place you'd expect anything crazy to go on. It's one of the quietest counties in the country. Oh, so Nightcrawler, right. So... but they're not crawling, so...
Well, Nightcrawler brings something else to mind, but not particularly savoury.
Yeah, so
I don't know anything about Fresno. I'd assume California would be quite wacky, because you've got like it's a huge, huge state, obviously, so there's lots of stuff going on, but I kind of think...
So the only Nightcrawlers which I know, well, I guess, so there's 4 Nightcrawlers which I have reference to in my encyclopedic mind.
Is one an X-Man?
One is the X-Man, the German one, weirdly played by Camp Scottish comedian Alan Cummings.
I thought he was good in it.
Yeah, he's all right, but it's kind of weird casting. Yeah. The second one is the dance band or dance act called Nightcrawlers, who did a song called Keep On Pushing On in the 90s. Mm. The third one is... There's a level called Nightcrawlers on the Sega Mega Drive game Alien Storm, which I used to very much enjoy playing with my friends. Yeah, and then Nightcrawlers is in Night Stalkers, I think.
I think there's a movie with Jade Gyllenhaal as well called Nightcrawler. I think it's called Nightcrawler.
Oh.
I might have made that up. It's something like that.
Well, you do make a lot of stuff up. But it's weird. So they're called Fresno Nightcrawlers. Wouldn't you call them the Fresno Trousers?
Fresno Trouser Ghosts. That might do some other. Yeah, I don't know anything about it because I was saying, being in California, I'd associate California with kind of San Francisco and Steinbeck novels and Las Vegas and all that. But I'm sure those are very much. It's more. It's away from. It's a little bit away from the coast.
Yeah, it's more,
sounds a bit more quiet and conservative and rural, perhaps. Yeah.
So the
suburban, perhaps.
The Fresno Nightcrawler, also known as the Fresno Alien or the Fresno Nightwalker, which I think is better, is a creature that was originally spotted on camera in 2007. The creature has since been spotted in other regions of the world. Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay, that's interesting.
Part of the craze surrounding the Fresno Nightcrawler is its creepy and offsetting appearance. Creatures are anywhere from a few feet to up to 1.5 meters tall.
So when were these first discovered, Chris? Was it the 90s?
2007.
2007? Oh, okay, so very recent. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's really the Pog joke I was going to make then.
Oh.
You're right, it wasn't any good.
I'm loving this. The Nightcrawler is almost... I'm trying to get like a Howard Stern-style shock jock radio job in America. So this this should take...
Try to turn this into your comedy zoo.
Yep. The Nightcrawler is all...
So I'm just gonna sit on a Sibian here.
If you wouldn't mind. Yeah. We couldn't get Carl Electra, so Neil's doing it. The Nightcrawler is almost all legs with a small upper body and walks like an insect. I disagree with that. Its appearance, it appears to have long legs, no visible face, no visible hands, and a tiny upper body under what looks like a cape. Sounds like a public school person, doesn't it?
I mean, it just looks like a autonomous pair of trousers walking along.
It does. And it looks like that as well. There's plenty of videos if you want to look it up, listeners. Right. The first recording instance of the Fresno Nightcrawler happened on November the 5th, 2007. Paranorms recently spoke with a paranormal investigator, Victor Camacho, who was one of the first to review the footage. Victor Camacho is the host of the popular radio show Los Devaldos, The Sleepless Ones, which airs in both the US and Mexico and discusses everything from aliens to urban legends like the Chupacabra. We should try and get on that.
We'll give it a go. I mean, I imagine it's in Spanish, and my Spanish is about 3 words.
Yeah, that's all right. Pick it up.
Lo siento, Spanish fans.
Camacho gave us a brief overview of the Fresno Nightcrawler story, much of which can also be watched in this video from his Mutual UFO Network talk, but we've added additional details from our conversation. So he's done a talk on it. The main witness preferred to be called by his first name, Jose. Prior to the fateful day, Jose had installed a second-hand CCTV surveillance system at his family home because of a past bicycle theft. It's weird. Like, would you, if your bike was stolen from outside your house, would you set up CCTV cameras?
I think it's fair enough. Yeah, well, especially I would
keep your bike in the house. And would it not cost more?
Was it a motorbike or a
no, bicycle?
Bicycle. Yeah, I mean, he may not have had a lot of room indoors, mightn't he? He's got one of those. It looked like a fairly big house, I guess. I don't know.
Oh well, look, I'm not here to.
Maybe it's just generally
to have a go at Jose. If he felt like he needed CCTV,
he felt like he needs that security because it starts with bikes, Chris.
Yeah, next thing
it's cars, and then they're breaking into your house.
Yep,
and then it's turning into Lethal Weapon 2 or something.
exactly how it works. That's the ladder.
One rung at a time.
The crime ladder.
You let one go by, and next thing you know, you're living in Mad Max world. You let this happen.
Next thing you know, society crumbles.
Not on my watch, soldier, or whatever.
Right. This older surveillance camera recorded directly into a VHS tape system. The connected monitor was placed directly next to Jose's bed.
So he's not utilising the most advanced of technology.
Well, it's second-hand. I mean, he's probably waiting for the bicycle insurance money to come back. So he's probably on his uppers, isn't he? That night, Jose was in his home when he heard a dog barking at something in the front yard. He thought it sounded unusual, so he looked over to the monitor. Watching the security footage, he was shocked. He watched two strange beings, Nightcrawlers, cross his front yard. Perplexed, he rushed through the house to find his brother sleeping in a nearby room. How did you get in, he asked. No,
I was going to say that read very weirdly.
I know.
As he was perplexed and he went to wake up his brother and go like, oh, I just see something strange.
He quickly explained what he saw and asked his brother to come and check it out. His brother opened the front curtains and looked outside but didn't see anything of note. So they woke up the rest of the family to review the footage. Wake up!
Well, I was wondering about this because I was thinking, I did see the video and I was thinking, do people just sit there and review like last night's security footage? It'd be a pretty boring job, wouldn't it?
It's a dog barking, woke him up.
Yeah.
He saw it on the
answers
monitor.
That question for me.
And there you go, watertight. The unfortunate thing about the surveillance system was the videos were rewound. The footage would be overwritten on playback. Knowing this, Jose pulled out his video camera and recorded the rare footage off the monitor. So that's why it's not very good quality, because he's recording it off the monitor. Well, could he not just take the VHS out?
I would have thought so. I don't know how the whole thing was set up. I'm prepared to accept this now, but it's got the hallmarks of a potential hoax.
Neil, what I will say, though, and hold on to your britches, the family was stunned.
Yeah.
Camacho says his brother went outside that night. He didn't see anything, but one part of the yard had tiles, and he saw footprints, small footprints.
How did he play it back?
Because he was on his... Well, but I think...
So just keep going on a loop and then record over once it gets to the end?
Yeah, maybe. Or you could rewind it and then play it back.
That's a good security system, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get an hour and a half chunk. If you happen to catch a burglar in the hour and a half, you put it on extended play, obviously, but then the quality goes down again. This is why you don't invest in VHS technology in the year of our Lord, 2007.
2007.
Sorry, Jose, you've not thought this through.
Well, I mean, you've got to cut your cloth accordingly, though, haven't you? You've already lost a bike. It does feel like if...
Just take turns standing watch outside.
It does feel a bit like, well, so you're trying to catch these people who are coming to steal you, who've stolen your bike, right? But, what you can... So you've got it on... You've got this VHS, but it'll just record over it before you can get it to the police. Yeah, exactly. So you're basically just throwing good money after bad at that point, aren't you?
Like CCTV, it's hard enough to actually be able to spot somebody with like high-quality cameras that are dotted all over the UK these days because of the Orwellian hellscape we live in. But
I quite like it.
Yeah.
I feel safe, Neil.
Fair enough.
But maybe he thought that having the... I mean, if it's a VHS, or maybe the cameras were like about a metre long, like really massive, and he thought, well, that'll put people off.
That'll put people off. They won't want to steal my bike. I mean, just knock a camera up there then. Yeah. So that's what you're going to do. I don't know. I mean, again,
look, he's not here to answer for his crimes, so we'll just have to take him at his word.
Fortunately, he's not on trial today.
Although, if my petition to Congress gets signed off, and I believe it has got cross-aisle support, then he will be.
Well, Mitch McConnell's a big fan, isn't he? So, that's reasons we won't go into.
So they found a small footprints in the snow. After that night, Jose was living in fear, and for 2 weeks after the incident, he refused to leave his house. Shortly after that, Jose's family contacted the local station for the Spanish television network, Univision, searching for some answers. I mean, that's what I normally do. My first port of call is to call the press.
Well, they're going to have the answers.
Rather than the police or something. With the original footage lost...
Police aren't experts in the paranormal, though, Chris. Well, believe you and me, I've tried. Does 999 want to know about a pig man?
Well, you often put yourself forwards.
I've got an emergency. It's not my fault there's no emergency service that covers it, as I was ranting to the lady on the other end.
Well, you often bring up 999 when you see that there's been a crime in the local area on
what I perceive to be a crime.
What you perceive to be a crime, and you offer your
someone I didn't like the look of was walking down my street.
You offer your paranormal expertise, don't you?
Yeah. Somebody bought a bottle of Blue Nun. That's going straight through to the switchboard. Can't have that kind of behaviour.
Even though
practically Hove we live in.
Even though it was you.
Yeah.
Just
turning myself in. Yeah.
Turning myself in. Yeah. It's for the good of society.
After Blue Nun fueled self-recrimination. It's the worst kind.
It certainly does hold a mirror up to your soul, doesn't it? With the original footage lost, the only remaining video is what Jose recorded off his monitor. It is of extremely low quality, pixelated and compressed.
Yep, having seen it, I can attest to that.
Camacho recalled the experience, stating that in December 2007 he was called by a Univision reporter, saying that it is Univision. Why?
I'm pretty sure I've heard of Univision. Yeah, it's a massive.
It's big, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a huge Spanish language network, isn't it? It's like the CBS.
Spanish language. I was thinking like. It must be, yeah.
I might, as with everything I say, I might well be talking shit. But no, I'm pretty sure.
Let's just assume for expedience you're correct.
It's either correct or I'm confusing it with Telemundo.
Okay.
Or neither of those.
Basically sound the same.
Or those might be two different flavours of Spanish language. I think it's one of the. I'm going to Google it in the background to see whether I've got it right or not.
So it's called by a Univision reporter saying they had amazing video footage that they wanted him to see. Based in Los Angeles, it took Camacho a couple of days to get out to the station in Fresno. Initially, Univision pushed for a definitive statement of an alien sighting, but Camacho countered, saying he needed to get all the facts and talk to the main witness, Jose. The reporter reached out to Jose and asked him to speak with Camacho about the experience, but it was difficult because Jose was frightened. What if the aliens see me on TV?
And we should have gone to Univision then, because it's an American Spanish language free-to-air, so it's like the CBS of American Spanish TV. It's the largest provider of Spanish language content in the world.
Well done, Univision.
Yeah, good luck to them.
If you ever want a show that you can subtitle into Spanish about urban legends, then
feel free. We're very, very cheap.
Very cheap. Basically, we'll do it at cost.
Yeah.
Jose was finally convinced to come down to the television station. During this short interview with Camacho, Jose was visibly shaken and uncomfortable. He refused to show his face on camera, and then he appeared very worried to Camacho. So
he thinks the aliens are going to come after him?
I don't know what he's thinking.
Are we sure he's not been involved with the mafia or something?
Probably a cartel, you'd think, more than the mafia.
Well, yeah, I mean, this does beg the question: was it simply a pair of normal trousers that was filled too much with cocaine that they started walking? Yeah.
Across the border. Maybe that's how they're doing it now. Because, a cocaine-fueled pair of flares can definitely get across a desert without any water, but, people can't, can they?
No, that's true.
Neil, it's a theory I'm putting out there.
Hey,
That if you put enough drugs in fabrics, they become kind of sentient, or at least fulfill their...
Well, that's how Google are powering their new AI, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's a dirty secret they don't want coming out.
Apparently. So...
Allegedly.
After the interview, Camacho left with little more than the story. He didn't have access to the original footage or any contact information for Jose. A few months later, in February of 2008, Jose reached out to Camacho, inviting him to his house. I've calmed down now.
I don't understand why he's so scared, because I haven't seen the original footage. He seems to think like the alien's going to take it against him personally, and Are they going to? I mean, obviously, if they're going to,
all right, mate.
If you're going to get spotted, they're going to be watching Univision because it's a huge channel, obviously. But
well, they monitor all the channels, don't they?
I would imagine so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
which is probably why they decided not to make.
If you're an alien culture, you're busy. You're going to do risk assessment. So if it's on Channel 5 or something, you're probably like, we won't bother getting around to that.
Yeah, 20,000 people watching that. Who cares?
Whereas,
Yeah, I mean, they're not the scariest of aliens that I can imagine. I mean, it would be spooky, wouldn't it? Do you know what? Like, think about it. It would be spooky if something like that, which you couldn't explain, had actually happened in your front garden.
So I was just
like if it because you're on the ground floor and you've got that kind of driveway bit out the front of yours. If you had CCTV and you looked in the next day and like some weird sort of autonomous trousers had been walking across it, you might be a bit spooked by that because it's quite near where you rest your head.
I'd find it very eerie, but I don't know that I'd be.
Would you start sleeping in your living room bit?
Might slip out in the garden. Or they might.
That's outside.
Well, it's fenced off, but having said that, they could, have
some of them are
legs.
Some of them are 1.5 metres.
They're quite long legs, so they could just jump over the fence.
Which is about up to, I don't know what, my tit height? About 1.5 metres, something like that.
Potentially get over the fence then, it's possible.
Just kick the fence down.
Kick the fence down, that's another possibility.
We've got that much cocaine in the system.
Oh, yeah. Bit of plywood's not going to stop them, is it? Well, because I'm a bit baffled by this. Cause I
think you're being tough. I think what you would do is you'd go and move into your parents and you'd board the place up.
Yeah.
I think that's what you'd write it off.
I would just never go back in again. Just run screaming out with whatever I could carry and then just leave it all behind.
Yep.
Move to Portsmouth or something.
Move to Fresno. Oh no! What have I done?
Gone to their homeland.
This is the one place
they got me right where they wanted me.
They've herded me like a sheepdog. So he's invited Camacho to his house. Given how much time had passed, all evidence was gone. Convenient. But Camacho got a better estimate of the size of the Nightcrawler. He interviewed Jose, his brother, and the rest of the family that viewed the video. Camacho also reached out to the neighbours, but none remember anything from the night in question. Later, Camacho and another team tried to recreate the footage using the original surveillance system, thinking perhaps someone was messing with Jose or his family. Camacho said nothing could compare to the original footage. He emphasises, "For me, the video is real. Jose didn't make it, and neither did his brother." I don't know why he's the dog from Tom and Jerry.
Butch, wasn't it?
Butch or Spike.
Oh, it could have been Spike, yeah. I don't know either. Yeah, but people all say that, don't they?
Yeah. No, there's no way you could.
Or you couldn't possibly fake this. Yeah, you could.
Yeah, just chuck a frisbee in, yeah. So, Camacho said he visited with
Stop the illusion, Chris.
It's just...
Yeah, it's weather balloon.
It's probably swamp gas. It's just Jupiter, you idiots. Jupiter,
it's just a VHS artifact. It's because the tracking went fucked.
Camacho said he visited with
Jose.
Jose.
In the 80s and 90s, they recognised that.
And his family a couple of times after that, but a few years later, he called Jose and found out he'd been in a car accident and died.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. Within the following...
I was very much... Well, now you wonder, were his apprehensions correct?
Well,
the aliens monitoring, because they were very friendly at first, and they're like, he's guilty of something. I don't know what, but someone's got a guilty conscience, they're this worried about getting found out.
Do you reckon that was it?
Yeah, just like this has got like some maverick Martian cops,
And then they, using the only power which they had, kicked the wheels so hard that they became unaligned. So when he hit a certain speed, it spun out.
Yeah,
it's possible, Neil. It's more than possible. It's probable. So within the following year, Jose's family moved. Camacho lost contact with them after that. So they've disappeared.
Well, who can blame them?
Gone into hiding.
Or have they been abducted, Chris? Who can say?
Certainly not this guy. So, other Nightcrawler sightings. Allegedly, in 2011, security officials from Yosemite National Park were hoping to catch a group of vandals that were damaging private property. Then they unexpectedly caught some mysterious creatures on camera instead. We've seen this one as well. That was the first one I showed you, I think, which looks more hoaxy. These creatures look similar to the Fresno Nightcrawler, except this time there are two of them, one of them being a lot shorter than the other. Another sighting was reported in Poland with no video or photo proof.
I saw one though, yeah.
Yeah, I saw it.
Looked like that one off the internet.
Why can't you just believe me? In 2017, the 2017 report is largely ignored by theorists. So, Neil, would you like to hear some possible explanations?
I'm guessing number one is
yes.
alien. Yeah, well, don't ask the question if you don't want me to consider an answer. Yeah, I'd love that, Chris. Nothing on earth would please me more than whatever it is that I'm agreeing to.
Many have tried to explain what's going on behind these videos. The TV show Fact or Fate: Paranormal Files covered the Fresno sighting in 2010. The show follows a team of investigators who, I'd like to see their credentials, who
records hours of filler for a channel that doesn't make very much
between
money.
Adverts.
Yeah. Whilst advertisers sell pyramid schemes, medications you don't need to people who've given up on the will to live or make any effort in their lives whatsoever.
So, review unexplained photos or videos. If a piece of evidence is convincing enough to warrant further investigation, they try and recreate it. After travelling out to Fresno and doing some research, the team deemed the video legit. They couldn't even recreate it. However, the show has been criticised for poorly investigating videos on the show and even modifying footage.
I want to see this one on Mythbusters at least.
Well, this isn't the kind of thing they do on Mythbusters, is it?
No, but I want that level.
They just do stuff from films.
I don't know. Are the Fresno Nightcrawlers a myth? I think they could go do that on Mythbusters.
The two guys of Mythbusters hate each other, don't they?
Do they? I don't know.
Yeah, they're not friends in real life.
I don't know.
That's what I've heard. So
I've seen quite a few episodes.
That was a rumour on set when I was there as best boy. But that's another story for another time. Several YouTubers also attempted to recreate the Nightcrawlers video too. They strung a wire between 2 points and threw a cloth puppet on it. They compressed the video to filter out the wire. Some have claimed that the creatures are from Native American folklore. Allegedly, the creatures brought peace and happiness to humanity. However, this doesn't seem likely because no tribes have claimed any connection to the Fresno Nightcrawlers. That's just one of those things where
they sound a little bit like the Dark Watchers, but obviously that's up in the mountains, isn't it?
Mm.
Although maybe climate change and all the rest of it, they're coming down now.
They're shrunk.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't got their hats on anymore. They've replaced it for capes.
It's gotten too hot.
We
come down, you're going to have a change of scene, aren't you?
Do you reckon they've updated their look?
They're getting tarted up going into town.
They're always a little bit behind the time, aren't they?
Yeah, well,
dressing in set 70s garb now.
You've been up a mountain just having a look. You're not really keeping up with fashions, are you? And besides which, you've got your own sort of what you consider good and your own identity. You don't want to.
Hey, look. If people want to wear flares, it's up to them, man.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like a nice shell suit or whatever, they'd look much better in that. But,
yeah.
Pair of tracky bottoms.
Nice velour tracksuit with Donald Duck on it. That'd be nice, wouldn't it,
Neil? I mean, that's
like the one you're wearing now.
Yeah.
It's ghetto fabulous. So, the Nightcrawler's impact. These types of videos are intriguing because we want to believe there's something out there. And there probably is something out there. Does the Nightcrawler's video offer proof? Not definitely. The quality of the original video makes that impossible. But the story has reach, beyond the quiet farmland of Fresno. The Fresno Nightcrawler, with its iconic look, has inspired tons of amazing artists who share in the joy of these quirky creatures with a slew of merchandise, shirts, plushies, art, and more. Are you going to get a plushie of the Fresno Nightcrawler, or are you just going to get tracksuit bottoms and put some scrunched up newspaper in it like a penny for the guy?
I'm going to Google Nightcrawler plushie and see what comes up, because I'm
going to love it. Christmas is just round the corner.
Oh, well, I assumed, like, it's basically just an arse with a pair of legs.
Yep.
With eyes where the Botox should be.
That's what people used to say about me now in my younger days.
They're kind of crude, and there is an X-Men one here as well.
So, after the hit video game Among Us raged across the internet, savvy gamers noticed a minor resemblance between the characters in the game to the infamous Fresno cryptid. It's true that Amongst Us characters do share a few similarities.
Which game is that?
Among Us.
Oh, never heard it.
But they are just imposters, much like the secondary Nightcrawler sightings in Yosemite. While the secondary videos may be mere copycats or hoaxes, the original Nightcrawler footage continues to intrigue viewers. Victor Camacho sums it up succinctly by saying, "The Fresno Nightcrawler is an original case. The family lived something strange. I can't explain it, but something happened that night."
I mean, he's not wrong. Something happened that night.
Something happens most nights, doesn't it? I mean, I would say every night. I mean, something's always happening.
Technically correct.
There haven't been any sightings or reports recently. It seems like the story ends here, but the Nightcrawlers will go on to haunt Fresno natives for a long, long time. And that's the end of that chapter.
Well, so, I mean, I wonder whether it...
Got another article to go through as well before we go into anything too spicy. But what do you think so far now? Walking trousers?
I mean, it sounds really suspicious to me. So,
could it be one of those things? Could it be the mothers, like mums, say to teenagers, "Your clothes are so dirty they could walk themselves," or whatever? Could it be that? Could it be that that's true?
I think it's the same French magician who was enamoured with La Pascalita, and he's moved on to walking trousers now.
Nice.
Gotten bored of that, and now he's like he's animating. He's trying to create an army of
walking trousers. Well, I mean, the most important thing with a soldier is its ability to move, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
if you can march 30 miles at night,
strap some grenades
take
to
the
them.
enemy unawares. I mean, well, we know what do we know about them? They can move free.
They can move.
They can move. They terrify people who've seen them. So
that one guy seems quite highly strung.
Yeah, to be fair. I don't know, but it's got all. Thing is, it's when you get a lot of that kind of like, I had to do it on VHS, and then I couldn't actually just use the original things. I had to video, and therefore the quality is really, really crappy. Yeah. These tend to be excuses that make me think. Yeah, once you start. It's all possible, but then I start thinking, it's got. I start thinking that it's a hoax at that point.
Once you start your story with a slew of excuses, kind of. That's like what kids do, isn't it? Or like,
exactly. Just the
or why you haven't done your homework or whatever.
Yeah, it just gets more and more extravagant, and the fact that he was too terrified. I just think he didn't really want it. Well, he's kind of like torn between possibly wanting to be on TV and not wanting to be. Because I get that it would be really eerie to see. Let's just because the other thing is,
I'd like to know what money he got like to be on TV and stuff. Like, did they pay him?
Probably not, to be honest with you. It was just on,
Well, then, it's kind of, what's the point?
Because he wouldn't have made much out of it, would he? But no, I think because it's a bit
unless his family, that where they've moved to is a place which is producing the plushies.
Well, no, because you're assuming that everyone just does this for money. I mean, look at the crop circles of the UK. That went on for about 25 years.
Yeah.
And two of the really prolific ones, it was just like, they just thought it was a bit of fun. Do you know what I mean?
It was aliens still. It wasn't.
Oh, yeah, sorry. We'll get, well, we're going to be doing crop circles one day, so.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, so we'll keep you lid on
Well,
that.
do you know what, Neil? Before you settle one side or the other, whether this is aliens or hoax,
It could. Do you know what? It could, I'm just. All I'm saying is when you get a slew of those kind of like, oh well, it was it's poor quality because of X, Y, and Z. That starts to make me suspicious. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying but it could have been. So it could have been a hoax that he set up himself. It could have been, or the
someone
family
hoaxing him.
It could be somebody hoaxing him. They were just doing some like performance art or whatever, some weird thing. We don't know. It's like whoever it was who put that monolith in the desert in Utah.
Yeah,
they clearly just wanted to fuck with people and just thought it was a bit of fun. So you just do it and you hope it gets out there. Because I think it was out there for months. I mean, they eventually went through satellite footage and realised it had been there for months already. And that's really clever because somebody's done that and then they've just played the long game. Because then that really is a head fucker. It's just somebody playing around. But
no, you're so cynical. Could it not have been aliens?
Well, it could. Well, again, let's go through the list. Could have been aliens. So
he's so cynical, isn't he, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, crowd don't like it. Jerry.
Why have you got a crowd in your living room suddenly, Chris? What's going on?
Because they just turn up. And I'm a good host. So,
it could be. All right, so I don't think it's a vortex because there would have been more sightings.
I'm still sticking to. I think it's the ghost of two of the Bee Gees.
Could be ghosts. Could be a military experiment gone wrong.
Yeah, walking trousers, so that even when the soldier's asleep, they can still march towards his target.
Well, you would just put the soldier into the trousers and then it would march.
Very much like a sort of Wallace and Gromit situation, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. They'd be getting a bit of kit and then, and then it'd be marching them.
It's really easy to sleep standing up, as we all know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you're
tired enough to sleep.
With enough training, Chris, you can do
it. Right, so this next one is from Sunday, June the 19th. Oh no, I think that's just saying that that's today. Right. So this is from October 19th, Year of Our Lord 2018, by Carmen George, the famous Carmen Miranda drag act, with all the fruit in the hair.
Yes.
So it's from the Fresno Bee. Spelled B-E-E, so like the insect.
Yeah.
I don't know why that
was pretty much what I figured. I didn't think it was the letter, but thank you for confirming.
Well, it could have just been B-B-E, like we be Fresno, but it's B-E-E. I don't know.
Yeah, those are the three versions of the homonym, so thanks. Yeah, thanks for ruling out the obvious ones.
Well, it could be B-E-A. I mean, this is all interesting stuff.
It's great.
So, Bigfoot, Chupacabra, and Fresno Nightcrawler?
Oh.
Walking pants bring Fresno freaky fame. Fresno has a lesser-known claim to supernatural fame. The Fresno Nightcrawler, the mysterious being or puppet, has re-emerged in the imaginations of many this spooky season as Halloween approaches. First spotted on the video surveillance footage more than a decade ago by Fresno resident, Fresno Nightcrawler roughly resembles a pair of long white pants with a small head. Some consider it an alien, others a fun urban legend, and an endearing addition to pop culture. Whatever it is, well, it's not as famous as other mysterious, debatable cryptids, such as Bigfoot and Chupacabra. It's amassed quite a following and growing fascination. A search for the Fresno Nightcrawler on YouTube produces a long list of videos that have been watched millions of times. One video alone has more than 1.4 million views. Paranormal investigator Victor Camacho analysed the original surveillance footage shortly after it was captured in 2007 by a frightened Fresno, where he didn't actually analyse the original surveillance footage today.
Well,
That's the whole problem.
Conflicting stories.
Well, no, because the original famous footage didn't survive. It was him filming it on his camcorder. Camacho said he was contacted after the man brought the footage from his front lawn in South Fresno to the television network Univision looking for answers. The video became better known in 2010 after fact-fatal paranormal files, including one of their episodes. The group determined the footage to be unexplainable after trying to recreate it with puppets and a child dressed in a white sheet. The show called The Nightcrawlers, so it's a show that called The Nightcrawlers. Sensationalist.
Golden Nightcrawlers?
The show called The Nightcrawlers.
Oh, right, okay.
That never made sense to a local expert on the matter, Michael Banty, founder of Weird Fresno, since things don't crawl, they walk. See, he's on our level, this guy. I like this guy, we should get him on. I don't think he'd want to be. No. The walking creatures continue to be celebrated. Marketing of the mysteriousness has included Nightcrawler pins, a hand-sewn Nightcrawler pillow, and there is a steady stream of new Nightcrawler artwork popping up on social media. The Nightcrawlers are different from everything Banty and Camacho have seen before. There's like a dictionary of different cryptids of strange creatures. And there are Bigfoot and the Chupacabra. But there's never been this before, Banty said. And no one has really been able to determine what it is. They remind Banty of fairy people. Camacho speculates Nightcrawlers could be an extraterrestrial insectoid, approximately 3 feet tall and resembling a praying mantis. Others see ants. Fresno resident Matthew Jacobs weighed in to the Fresno Nightcrawler discussion, weighed in on Twitter by saying the elusive being is just a cloth puppet on a wire or maybe just a pair of pajama pants. Here's something from Google. So possible explanations: undiscovered species, a paranormal or supernatural creature, extraterrestrial, pair of pants being puppeted, or an interdimensional being.
Oh, brilliant.
There we go. Yeah, so maybe the top half is in a different dimension. Banty is undecided on the validity.
Just the middle. It's like an optical illusion from another dimension, so you just don't see from the top of the neck through to the top of the waist.
Well, then wouldn't you see the head?
Yeah, you see the head and you see the legs.
Oh, okay. I get it's kind of folded in.
It looks as if there's no middle.
Right. Oh, man, that's twisting my melon, man.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
Ooh. Banty is undecided on the validity of the original surveillance footage. His gut telling him is one thing, but his head tells him another. God, it's tearing me apart. But said a couple of popular videos circulated appeared to be a fake. Camacho believes the first video is real. Camacho said the man who shared the video was only identified as Jose and has since died. Was initially filmed talking about it without showing his face because he was so scared. He didn't even want to go out of the house, Camacho said. He stayed at home for a couple of weeks. It wasn't possible that someone tried to make the video just to fool you on a TV station. Jacobs pointed out a video debunking the Nightcrawler case before talking about its enduring awesomeness. Who's this? Is this a new voice? Yeah, why not? I love a good urban legend. Ghost story or bit of lore, just for the entertainment and elements of culture, Jacobs wrote. In some ways, it's pretty Fresno that our local cryptid is a puppet made from pajama pants. And I don't mean that to be insulting. It's just how funny Fresno can be. There have been reports of possible sightings outside there as far away as Poland, but Camacho and Banty are still waiting for another video like the first. As for why Fresno, Banty joked with the Mad Scientist podcast that it's likely to be the city's reputation of delicious tacos. Banty. Oh, you should get a tight 5 minutes together, man. The men debunked claim.
So is that somebody's had a bad taco, they've shit so hard they've actually disappeared up their own prolapsed anus up to the neck?
Could be.
I'm not sure what he's insinuating there, but fair enough.
Well, I think he's saying that they've got nice tacos. I don't think it was a dig at the tacos. I think he's just going, oh, it's because you've got such good tacos, guys. The men debunked the claim that Nightcrawlers resemble beings from Native American legend. Yeah, and you can kind of see that. So what it is, it's a carving of something that looks like it's got long legs with a head atop it.
Mm. We don't know, do we? Because it could be. I mean, it could.
I share my screen, but I can't.
It could be. It could be that the Native American legend stems from the same thing.
Could be.
They spotted it many thousands of years ago, and the legend arose from that. And the same thing's now popped back in. You just pop back down, see what was going on. Oh, this place has changed.
Mm.
So back when we went to Fresno, 3,000 years ago, what's going on? It's a bustling little commune now.
It was foreign man as far as you could see.
Tacos are lovely.
Whoa. So Camacho's left things open-ended. Could it be extraterrestrials? Could it be elves? I don't know. He said at the end of his presentation, whatever you want to think.
Well, the thing about Camacho, again, I'm kind of like, he seems a bit too easily convinced. It couldn't be faked. I mean, that's a bold claim.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you could fake that quite easily.
Well, I think the thing which is weird about it is the way it's not a pair of walking trousers can be faked, right? That's fine. No problem with that. You could do that with some wire. But I think it's just the way they move because again, it doesn't really feel like there's any weight to them. The legs, it doesn't feel like kind of a foot going into the ground and then the next foot going into the ground, like walking.
Yeah.
They're kind of like almost hovering a bit, but like moving the legs.
It could be like being puppeteered, couldn't it?
How? What do you mean? Like, how could it be puppeteered?
So, I don't know, there's a fella in one leg and then puppeteer in the other one?
Well, no, but the size of them wouldn't allow
somebody to fit inside.
And also then like the person inside would need to walk to be able to move, unless he was on like a skateboard. But no skate tracks were found, Neil. As far as I'm aware.
Greased up the road or clean the skate tracks the next morning.
Yeah, tiny hovercrafts. So I think the way they move is odd, and I don't see how you puppeteer it, particularly considering it's outside and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not like there's someone above it, like moving the legs, because that's kind of how they walk a bit. Like Captain Scarlet or something. The Jerry Anderson stuff, or like Thunderbirds, where the legs, because they're being held from above.
How they kind of, because the ones on the original video I saw, I mean, to be honest with you, it looked more like a big tent or something to me, because we were saying it's like a pair of legs.
Yeah,
but you can't really see a proper split or something like that.
Yeah, you can. I don't know what you're looking at, right?
Okay, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, like they're clearly two separate parts with a join in what we would consider a groinal area. A cleft, maybe, if you're using other parts of the body.
I don't know. I wonder if it's far away enough. I don't know.
Well, I'm saying, like, to me, there's no obvious way of puppeteering it. I don't think.
No, fair enough. I mean, I've got to think it's a hoax because there's just too many.
Then Neil, the burden of proof is on you to explain how the hoax was done.
Well, equally way around. The burden of proof is on you to explain how it isn't a hoax.
Absolutely not.
Well, no, objectively, if you want to say something out of the ordinary is true, then.
Well, I'm saying it's out of the ordinary because I can't see how it was hoaxed. And you're saying you think it's a hoax, so that would mean that you can see how it's hoaxed, or you have an idea. And I'm asking you what that idea is.
Yeah, what I'm saying is because there's a lot of stuff around it that.
Yeah, but again, how's? I mean, look, Neil.
I couldn't have told you how to create a crop circle, Chris, but that doesn't mean that was all accurate either.
You probably could have. It's just pushing down wheat, isn't
it? Yeah, some of the really complex ones. You do, have to, I couldn't recreate it myself.
No, but you would have an idea like how to flatten wheat. I'm just asking, how would you
No, I'm just thinking it's somebody in some kind of costume, and they're managing. I mean, I don't know. This may or may not be correct, but somebody's in some kind of white costume, and they've got sort of two legs out the front, and then they're just angling it to make it look like they're it's a pair of legs just walking under their own steam. You'd have to play around with a camera and try and recreate it. I don't know, but I'm just wondering whether you could, that could be a costume where somebody was inside and they've just got a couple of sticks at the front where they're just making the thing walk, and then that makes it.
But no, because you can see in between the legs.
Maybe, I don't know.
No, I'm not saying that this is aliens, but I'm saying that I'm not. I don't have a simple, like, it's not like, oh, that's clearly, like, a lot of the stuff we do is like very clearly.
No, the reason why I'm saying about the hoax stuff is because that there's just a lot of elements.
It's more than
of
90 years, but I'm just saying.
No, fine, and I'm just saying, it's the elements like the fact that it was captured on grainy VHS. It had to be then VHS on top of VHS. There's a lot of kind of like these things because we're only seeing something that's very sort of poorly captured, and it's hard to truly distinguish exactly what's going on.
Mm.
So it could be, if you'd seen the original footage or you saw it on digital, it would be much more obvious what was happening.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one because I can't see. I agree with you. There's a lot of red flags.
Yeah, that's where I'm coming from. I'm not saying I could recreate it, so I'm not saying that. So fair. And to be honest with you, but if he or somebody outside did do this as a hoax, then that's quite cool because actually that's a lot of effort and that's a really cool, eerie phenomenon. I don't know how to recreate it, so yeah, I'm just saying.
You're a scientist.
There's a lot of red flags. No, yeah, but that's in a way actually that's kind of more interesting to me. How somebody might have done it.
Okay, Neil. So, shall we go through? We've got the team here. Shall we?
Nice.
Shall we go through our system, our scoring system?
Yep. Why not?
All right, Neil.
First on the board.
First on the board is spookiness, Neil, and you may proceed.
So yeah, I guess it would be pretty. I mean, the guy. Assuming he wasn't hoax he put up to himself, and there's red flags that suggest it may have been him hoaxing, or maybe he was just, although you're his brother, or
I reckon it was his brother gaslighting him because he fancied his wife.
Okay, fair enough. That's the one thing I know we're terrified of: walking trousers. Yeah, or
he was really upset when he lost that pair of trousers.
Oh, those white jeans he had. He used to go down that club in Essex.
Yeah, he used to go to funerals then.
All that rah. No, you are. You put me on that. So, speaking of, look, he may have just been very high anxiety or whatever. Yes, assuming. There is something. It's eerie. It's not terrifying. I don't think for me. So I can't. But but yeah, having something like that show up on your CCTV. So thinking if it did just sort of crop up and then you just suddenly got out of bed and saw that would spook you definitely. As you say, it's unexplained. I can think it's a hoax, but I can't. I don't know exactly how to do it. And I'd be interested to see people try and recreate it. I'd be interested to see what it would look like if you recreated the whole setup, like you did it on a grainy VHS and then filmed that. I'd be very interested to see what it looked like if you tried out a few different, like I say, puppets and things like that. I'd be interested to see what that looked like and how close you could get it.
Using 2007 technology.
Yeah. Yeah,
like you could put like a drone down each leg. Do you know what I mean?
No. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So using that, but doing something like some of the theories suggested, like puppeteering or something like that, how close you could get it to look. That'd be interesting because I think some of it might be come out of the artifact that you're getting on the sort of low quality of the thing. Anyway, yeah, something cropping up on your VHS. That's quite eerie. It's with some of these things, it's normally just like a real kind of like just a shape in the background, but it's the movement is quite eerie. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. 7.
Yeah. So Yeah, I think if you were kind of woken up from sleep and you by a dog barking, and then you looked in your little, which you bizarrely keep right by your bed, your CCTV screen.
Well, you want to see if they're nicking your bike.
Well, it's already gone. Let it go, mate. And then you saw that kind of a pair of disembodied trousers walking along. I think that would be spooky, and especially because
lads, you can keep the bike, all right?
You can keep it.
Sorry, I bothered you. Because the thing is, I mean, that's what you'd steal if you're a pair of disembodied trousers, isn't it?
A bike,
you'd be like, I'll be honest with you, I've got a bit of a limp going on here because I've been walking for fucking miles trying to get a decent taco, and a bike could sort us right out. The other one could just do like a,
sit on the handlebars.
Yeah.
Get a backy. And I think also because you're not like seeing it out in the middle of nowhere. It's like properly in your front garden. I think that's quite spooky as well. And yeah, like the way it moves is quite spooky. And there's actually footage rather than just hearsay. So, although I'm not sure that they don't seem to have any threat to them particularly, but I think I'm going to go 7 as well, Neil. So, believability. Well, it's a tough one because I can't see necessarily how you recreate it, right? So, and there's video of it, so believability's high comparatively to other urban legends because there is actually video footage. How valid that is up to you to decide. And the guy does seem to have been spooked, although it's quite a nice excuse to get a couple of weeks off work, isn't it? I mean, I can't see how it would be an alien but then, I'm very Earth-centric, but I don't see how a pair of legs could master into planetary flight, but who knows?
They control it all with their mind.
Well, that could be it, couldn't it? But yeah, I mean, again, like all of this is, taking everything that we've looked at in mind, like other urban legends and stuff. So I'm going to give it a 7 for believability, Neil.
Do I believe it? Well, what do I believe? I don't know what I'm being asked to believe, to be honest with you. But
that's whatever you want, isn't it?
No,
just topics.
Rhetorical question. But everyone always instantly goes to aliens with these things. I don't know why.
They're just a hot shit, aren't they?
Yeah,
aliens.
Maybe God
recency bias.
Have another go and see whether or not could do something a bit better. These humans haven't been working out too well.
No,
let's give it another chance.
They're so fucking adaptable.
No, there's video footage, so you've got to give it a bit of a higher score on that. What marks it down for me is just the sort of coincidences, and there's a few red flags. Like, I couldn't talk to the TV station first because it was too scary, and I didn't want to show my face. And there's quite a few that sort of diminishes it a bit in my eyes. In terms
not everyone loves the spotlight as much as you, Neil.
That's fine. And he may have just had a load of anxiety, but it just reduces the believability for me. But yeah, you've got that footage, so I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10.
Quite low. Reach, Neil. You can go ahead.
Unsurprisingly, I'd never heard of these. I don't know that it's something that's going to be that huge. Has it been on an episode of Supernatural yet? I didn't hear you say so. That's always a good bellwether for something that's become big. It sounds like something that's kind of more. Well, it has been. It's gone as far as Poland, and it's obviously, you can see these things on the internet now. So people buy into them, got millions of views. How long it'll be about? Because it's only from 2007. I don't know. I don't know if we'll still be talking about it in 30 years' time. Maybe.
We will be when our trouser overlords take over,
no, that's
and
true.
we're all down the.
It's just the first phase of the invasion.
Denim mines.
Yeah. Mining
The
for denim.
The corduroy
Denim.
mines.
So, yeah, I don't think it's going to be a high one, this, because I'm going to give it a 4, because I think it's gone around a little bit, but it's not been around for that long, and I don't know that it may have better reach at some point, but I don't know that it's got huge reach at this point in time. It's not a big one, I don't think, from what I can tell.
Score?
4. I said 4.
Did you?
We did.
Okay, sorry. So I mean, it's big on the internet. It's it's only been around 15 years, but it's pretty big on the internet. There's loads of stuff about it. A whole kind of cottage industry of art and plushies has kind of come up around it. Plenty of people trying to debunk it. Been on documentaries. I've unsurprisingly heard of it. I've seen different things with it in and heard different podcasts about it. So I think it's a bit, it's kind of creepypasta kind of thing. It's bigger on the internet than popular culture, but isn't the internet popular culture now? So, but yeah, it's not been around that long. So I'm going to give it a 5. So, narrative premise. Well, I mean, I've not seen much about walking aliens who look like trousers, so it's an original premise. So I'll give you that. There's not a huge narrative because it's just like something having a wander about, isn't it? But I don't know. It's original and it's captured people's imagination because it is kind of such an original cryptid, I guess. So I think I'm going to give it a 5 for that as well. Now. Yeah,
I mean, it's not a huge hook on here, but I quite like. There's a bit of ambiguity, which is nice. So the one thing I'll say, if we are talking about aliens, then at least it's something fucking other than the usual grey man thing. How many times we've got to see that same old crap coming out? Yeah, so at least it's something original. Let's hope they turn up on, I don't know, Star Wars or whatever at some point. They're making about 50 different shows on Disney Plus out of that, aren't they?
It's tiresome.
Let's get them into, I don't know.
Lucas.
What are they down to now? Oh, where are they?
It turns out
Uncle Owen Shack or whatever. When they make that one, what was Uncle Owen up to in 15 years when he was bringing up?
It's like an episode of Cheers.
Yeah,
in the
starring
cantina.
Little Luke, like young Sheldon or whatever. When they make that one, inevitably,
they could be like the Norm character. Like trousers walk in. Yeah, trousers.
Yeah. Whoa, it's Fresno Nightcrawler. Just happens to be a place called Fresno Tatooine. Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it? Something original. Anyway, sorry. So there's that, or there's just a bit of beauty there. So yeah, I'll give it a 5.
All right, well that gives it an overall score of 45, which isn't too bad, really. But you kind of expect that when there is actually video footage of it. So.
Yeah, it's always good when you do get something like that. Yeah, you can't completely explain it.
Yeah, so that's it for this week. It's been a slightly more upbeat episode than the one about child murder. And
you never know what you're going to uncover when you go on the uncanny path of urban legends.
But I'd like to say from myself and presumably from Neil as well, although I rarely like to put words in his mouth because he's a controversial character. If you've listened to all this year, thank you very much. We do appreciate it, and I hope you've got some enjoyment out of our nonsense. And here's to another year. Presumably we'll be on the iHeart network by this time next year.
I would imagine so, yeah.
I would imagine so. It's inevitable. But yeah, thank you very much, and we will be back with another urban legend next week. And give yourself a round of applause, guys. Goodbye.
See you later. Oh, we should never have cut off the really amazing conversation at the start, whatever it was about. Oh, British food. Right, I'm going to end the recording here, and then I'll see you back in a minute.
Cool.